The sentence reached me just before my boarding group was called. "We only need her card. She does not have to come." I was standing behind a gray column near gate 14 at the airport, holding my carry-on with both hands. My son Evan was laughing beside the coffee shop. My granddaughter Lily was showing him a picture on her phone. My daughter-in-law Kendra had turned slightly away from them while she whispered to her sister. I had not meant to hear anything. I had walked over to ask whether everyone wanted coffee before we boarded. Then Kendra said my name and I stopped. Her sister asked, "Are you sure she will not notice?" Kendra gave a short laugh. Grace notices everything except when people are using her. I looked down at the folder in my hand. It contained the hotel confirmations, the airport transfers, the excursion schedule, and the birthday dinner reservation. The total cost of the vacation was $12,800. Kendra continued speaking. She paid for the villa, the private car, and all the activities. Once we get there, we can move her to the standard room. Evan does not want her hovering around the family all week. Her sister asked, "Does Evan know?" "He knows enough. He just does not want a scene before his birthday." I looked across the terminal at my son. He was still laughing with Lily. I watched his face for some sign that he had heard them, or that he had already decided what my place would be during the trip. He looked happy. That was the part that hurt most. I walked to the restroom without saying anything. Inside the mirror, I saw a 63-year-old woman with a new haircut, a blue travel jacket, and a small gold watch Michael had given me on our 20th anniversary. I had bought the jacket for the vacation, because Kendra once said I always dressed as if I were going to a hospital meeting. I had spent months planning that trip. I had spent years planning the relationship I thought it would repair. My younger sister Simone answered when I called. "Are you at the airport?" she asked. "Yes." "Did something happen?" I looked at my reflection again. "I heard something," I said. "I need you to listen before I decide what it means." Simone told me not to confront anyone until I knew the whole truth. She said airport conversations were loud, people misunderstood things, and I should not destroy a vacation over one sentence. I agreed with her. Then I walked back to gate 14 and smiled when Evan asked whether I was excited. "I am beginning to understand the trip," I said. He laughed, but he did not ask what I meant. I was 63 when I paid for that vacation. I had been retired from hospital administration for almost a year, and I was still learning how to live without a calendar filled with other people's emergencies. For 37 years, I had worked in a large hospital, first as a receptionist and later as an administrator. I handled staffing problems, patient complaints, supply shortages, and family members who arrived angry because they did not understand what was happening. My job taught me to anticipate needs. If a doctor was running late, I called the next patient. If a nurse was overwhelmed, I found another person to help. If someone forgot a form, I printed a new one before they asked. I was good at solving problems before they became visible. That habit followed me home. My husband Michael used to say I could hear an empty glass from 3 rooms away. He meant it as a joke, but there was truth in it. I noticed when Evan needed new shoes, when Lily had a school project, when Kendra's business account was short, and when Michael's breathing changed after his surgery. Michael died 2 years before the vacation. After that, Evan became polite but distant. He called on Sundays when he remembered. He sent photographs of Lily's school concerts, but he rarely invited me to them. Kendra said their schedule was complicated. Evan said he was trying to keep work and family balanced. I told myself that adulthood changed people. I told myself that my son loved me in a quieter way now. When Evan's 40th birthday approached, I decided to give him something that could not be postponed by a busy calendar. I found a coastal resort where Michael and I had once planned to travel. The rooms looked over the water, the food was supposed to be excellent, and the resort offered a small private villa with a terrace. I booked 4 flights. I booked connecting rooms for Evan, Kendra, and Lily. I booked a standard room for myself, then upgraded it so everyone could share the villa during the evenings. I added airport transfers, a boat excursion, a photography session for Lily, a private dinner, and a birthday package for Evan. The total came to $12,800. I paid from a travel account I had created after selling Michael's old car and settling his final medical bills. It was money I had set aside for something meaningful. I did not consider it a purchase of affection. I thought of it as a gift from a mother who wanted 1 week with her son. When I told Evan, he was quiet for a moment. "Mom, you do not have to do that," he said. "I know." Kendra became excited immediately. She asked about the villa, the room views, the restaurant, and whether the resort could arrange private transfers. She said it would be easier if all the reservations were linked to one card. I agreed. Lily sent me a voice message saying she was excited to swim with me. She asked whether I would bring the blue scarf she liked. Evan sent a thumbs up when I shared the itinerary. I took those small responses as proof that the trip mattered to them. During the planning, Kendra asked me to pay the final resort balance before arrival. She said it would keep the check-in process simple. She also asked whether I could cover the excursions in advance, so nobody would have to carry cash. I did not question it. I moved money between accounts. I confirmed the flights. I sent passport details to the resort. I even arranged a birthday speech for Evan from a local musician who performed at the restaurant. The trip became my private project. I imagined Michael sitting beside me on the terrace. I imagined Evan laughing the way he had as a child. I imagined Lily growing up with one memory of all of us together that did not involve a hospital room, a school pickup, or someone needing a favor. 3 days before the flight, Kendra moved me from the main family planning chat into a smaller group called Travel Logistics. I assumed it was because I preferred fewer messages. The main group continued without me. I noticed that Lily's messages became shorter. Evan stopped asking questions. Kendra handled every detail. When I asked whether the rooms were still connected, Kendra said, "Everything is under control." When I asked whether Evan wanted the birthday dinner on the first or second night, she said, "We will decide when we get there." When I asked whether she had received the final payment confirmation, she wrote, "Grace, please do not worry. You are making this more complicated than it needs to be." I apologized. Now, sitting at gate 14, I thought about those messages again. Simone called while we waited to board. "Tell me everything," she said. I repeated the sentence I had heard. Then I told her about the family planning chat, the room changes, and the requests for my card. Simone was quiet for a long time. "Do you think Evan knew?" she asked. "I do not know." "What did he say when you asked about the rooms?" "He said Kendra was handling it." That sounds like knowing without wanting to know. I watched Kendra take a photograph of the family near the gate. She positioned Lily between herself and Evan. She did not ask me to join them. I told Simone I wanted to check the reservation before I confronted anyone. "Good," she said. "Find out what you are actually paying for." I opened the resort application on my phone. My card was listed as the primary payment method for every room, the private villa, the airport transfers, the boat excursion, the photography package, and the private dinner. I clicked through the room assignments. Evan and Kendra were listed in the private villa. Lily was listed with them. I was assigned a standard room on the other side of the resort. I checked the booking history. The villa upgrade was attached to my payment card. My room had been downgraded, but the cost difference had not been returned to me. The family had kept the upgrade while moving me away from them. I took screenshots and sent them to Simone. She replied, "Do not cancel yet. First find out what you can change without hurting Lily." That was exactly what I wanted to do. I called the resort's guest services desk. I gave my name and confirmation number. The representative confirmed that I was the primary financial guarantor for the entire group. I asked whether I could remove my card from optional expenses while leaving the flights and standard rooms active. "Yes," she said. "Each adult can provide a separate card for incidentals. The villa upgrade can be cancelled under the reservation policy. Can the upgrade be transferred to another guest? She said the resort allowed a transfer if the replacement guest was traveling during the same dates and the original guest approved it. I thought of Marisol Reyes. Marisol helped Simone with errands and sometimes cared for her elderly mother, Elena. A few months earlier, Marisol had mentioned that she and Elena were traveling to the coast for a medical appointment. They had booked a basic room near the resort because it was all they could afford. I called her. "Grace, is everything all right?" she asked. "Yes, I want to ask you something strange." I explained the villa upgrade. She thought I was asking her to pay for it. "I cannot afford a resort villa," she said. "I am not asking you to pay. I am asking whether you and your mother would accept it if the resort allows the transfer." There was a long silence. "Why?" she asked. I looked across the gate at my family. "Because I paid for something that was never meant to include me, and I would rather give it to someone who will be happy to be there." Marisol said she needed to ask Elena. 10 minutes later, she called back. Elena had begun to cry when she heard about the balcony. She says she has never stayed anywhere with a view of the ocean, Marisol told me. "Then let her see it." I transferred the villa upgrade to Marisol and Elena. I canceled the private car, the photography session, and the private dining package. I removed my card from optional charges. I kept the flights and the basic hotel rooms active. I also changed my own reservation. The resort had a small coastal inn 2 miles away. It was not luxurious, but it had a courtyard, a library, and a woman at the front desk who remembered guests' names. I booked a room there for the week. The changes were confirmed by email. 20 minutes later, Kendra messaged me. The villa confirmation disappeared. "Did you change something?" I replied. I reviewed the payment arrangements. She asked whether I was canceling the vacation. I wrote, "The flights and standard rooms are still active." "Why are the extras gone?" "Because the extras were attached to my card." She called immediately. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Removing my card from optional expenses." "You are punishing us." "I have not canceled your flights or your rooms." "You canceled the villa." "I canceled an upgrade attached to my card." "Evan's birthday dinner was planned around that villa." "Then you can celebrate in the resort dining room." She lowered her voice. "You heard us." I said nothing. She hung up. Evan approached me near the gate a few minutes later. "Is everything okay?" he asked. "Yes." "Kendra seems upset." "She should talk to Kendra." He looked at me carefully. "Are you still coming with us?" "I am taking a different room." "Why?" "I decided to spend more time near the coast before joining the family." He did not ask what that meant. On the flight, I sat several rows behind them. Lily looked back twice. The second time, I smiled at her. She mouthed, "Are you okay?" I nodded. When we landed, the family took the resort shuttle. I took a separate car to the coastal inn. The resort called Kendra when she tried to charge the private transfer to my card. I knew because she sent me a message that said, "The driver says there is a problem." I replied, "Each adult can provide a card for personal expenses." She wrote, "You are making us look ridiculous." I put my phone away. The coastal inn was quiet. My room faced a courtyard with orange trees. The owner gave me a key and told me breakfast began at 7. Nobody asked me why I was not staying at the expensive resort. Nobody assumed I had come to pay for a group. Simone arrived that afternoon. She set her bag on the chair and looked at me. "Do you feel guilty?" she asked. "I feel disappointed." "That is not what I asked." "I know. I am answering the question I have." She smiled. I told her I had not canceled the basic trip. Lily still had her flights and room. Evan and Kendra still had a place to stay. They simply had the vacation they had arranged without me. "You did not want revenge," Simone said. "No, I wanted accuracy." The next morning, Marisol sent me a photograph of Elena standing on the villa balcony. The ocean was behind her. Her hands were resting on the railing, and she was smiling at something outside the frame. At the resort, the family discovered that every optional expense required a separate card. Kendra had to cancel the photography session. The birthday dinner moved from the private terrace to a standard dining room. Evan paid for his own excursion. Evan called on the second evening. "What happened to the villa?" he asked. "I canceled the upgrade. You could have told me. I was not aware that I needed permission to remove my card from expenses that were being used to exclude me." He was quiet. "Are you saying you heard something?" "I heard Kendra at gate 14. "What did she say?" I repeated the sentence. He exhaled slowly. "She was talking to her sister. She was talking about me." "She did not mean it the way it sounded." "Then how did she mean it?" He had no answer. I asked him whether he knew I had been moved to a standard room. He said Kendra handled the details. I asked whether he knew the villa was being paid for with my card. He said he assumed I wanted everyone to have a good time. I asked whether he knew I was not included in the birthday planning chat. He said he thought I preferred fewer messages. Every answer was a door that led to the same room. He knew enough. He simply did not want to stand in front of what he knew. "I am still coming to your birthday dinner," I told him. "Please do not make this worse." I looked through the window at the orange trees. "You are still asking me to protect you from the truth." He said the family had been looking forward to the trip. So was I. He did not call again that night. I attended the birthday dinner 2 evenings later. I wore the blue dress I had packed for the villa. I brought Evan's gift in a small box. It was a watch with a plain leather band. Michael had helped me choose it before he died, when Evan graduated from college. The family was seated at a standard table near the dining room window. Kendra looked angry. Evan looked exhausted. Lily stood when she saw me and hugged me tightly. "Are you staying here now?" she whispered. "For dinner," I said. She held my hand. Kendra looked at the watch box. "You came. I was invited to dinner." "I never uninvited you." "No, you only said I did not have to come." The table became quiet. Evan looked at Kendra. I did not raise my voice. I repeated exactly what I had heard at the airport. "We only need her card. She does not have to come." Kendra said I had misunderstood a private conversation. "What part did I misunderstand?" I asked. She said they were discussing payment logistics. "Were you discussing moving me to a cheaper room?" She looked at Evan. "Were you discussing using my card for the villa and the excursions?" She said the trip had become too emotional. I placed the payment summary on the table. It showed the original total of $12,800. I separated the basic flights and rooms from the villa upgrade, private car, photography, excursions, and private dining. I kept the part of the trip that everyone had paid for or could pay for themselves, I said. I removed the extras connected to my card. Evan said I should have spoken to him first. I asked whether you were looking forward to the trip. You said we would see how the week went. I asked about the room assignment. You said Kendra was handling it. I was not going to ask permission to stop paying for my own exclusion. Kendra accused me of recording them. I did not record you. I heard you in a public airport while standing behind a column. Lily looked at her mother. Mom, did you really say Grandma only needed to pay? Kendra told her not to involve herself. I turned toward Lily. You did nothing wrong. The adults are responsible for their own words. Evan lowered his eyes. I gave him the watch. I still brought your gift, I said. I did not stop loving you because I stopped paying for the villa. His face changed. Kendra said I was trying to make him feel guilty on his birthday. The guilt was already there, I said. I am only refusing to carry it for him. The waiter brought the cake. Nobody knew what to say. Lily made a wish and blew out the candles. I clapped with everyone else. After dinner, Evan asked me to walk outside. On the terrace, he admitted that he knew Kendra did not want me in the villa. He said he thought it would be easier to keep the peace than to argue with her before his birthday. "You got the peaceful birthday you wanted by moving the conflict onto me," I said. He looked toward the water. I did not know she was going to say it like that. "You knew the meaning." He said Kendra believed I would make the trip about Michael and grief. He said she wanted 1 week without difficult conversations. I told him that wanting a simple birthday did not give them permission to turn me into a payment method. He asked whether I wanted the money back. "I want you to understand what happened." "I do." "No. You understand that I am upset. I want you to understand that you allowed people to welcome my card and exclude me." He looked at me. "I am sorry," he said. I believed he was sorry in that moment. I did not know whether the feeling would survive the drive home. "Go back inside," I told him. "Finish your birthday with your family." "Are you leaving because they rejected you?" "No. I am leaving because I finally believe what I heard." I returned to the inn that night. The next morning, I walked along the coast. Marisol sent another photograph. Elena was sitting at a small table on the villa balcony, eating breakfast with both hands wrapped around a cup of coffee. I thought about how the same upgrade that meant nothing to Kendra had become a memory Elena might talk about for years. Evan called before noon. "The dinner was difficult," he said. "Truth can be difficult." "Kendra says you planned the whole thing." "I planned to attend your birthday." "She says you wanted to embarrass her." "I did not need to embarrass her. She had already explained herself." He was quiet. Then he said, "I knew you had been moved to the standard room." I closed my eyes. "You knew?" "I thought it was temporary." "And the villa?" "I knew the card was attached to it." "Then you knew enough." He said he was not thinking clearly. I told him that not thinking was sometimes how people avoided seeing the harm they were allowing. Kendra sent me a message that afternoon. "You have ruined the family's trust." I replied, "Trust cannot be rebuilt by pretending I did not hear what was said." Then I stopped responding. Simone met me for lunch. She said I had handled the dinner better than she would have. "I did not handle it well," I said. "I simply waited too long to say what I knew." The family stayed at the resort for the rest of the week. They paid for their own meals and excursions. They still visited the coast, but they could not charge every decision to my card. Lily spent one afternoon with me at the inn. She asked why the adults kept saying real family. I told her that adults sometimes use words carelessly when they are trying to control a situation. She said she wanted me in the villa. "I know," I said. "Why did Mom not want you there?" I looked at her carefully. Sometimes people want the benefits of someone's love without having to make room for the person who gives it. She thought about that. "Are you still my family?" "Yes," I said. "That does not change because adults make bad choices." Evan visited the inn on the last day of the trip. He brought the payment summary in an envelope. Beside each optional expense, he had written a note. "I will repay this one. I did not know about this one. This should never have been charged to you." "I want to start here," he said. "Money is not the only issue." "I know." He gave me a printed copy of a message he had sent to Kendra. He told her the plan was wrong, that I had paid for the vacation, and that he should have defended me before I heard the conversation. I read it once and returned it. "This is a beginning," I said. He asked whether I would join them at the airport for the flight home. "I have a shuttle later." His face fell. "I am not ready to return to the old arrangement where every movement is made together, because it is convenient for someone else," I told him. He nodded. When I returned home, I closed the travel account. I transferred the remaining balance into a savings account, with my name alone. I updated my emergency contacts and removed the automatic payment access Evan had once used for family expenses. I did not do it as a threat. I did it because I had learned that access should be specific, not permanent. Evan repaid the optional charges over several months. Kendra remained distant. She did not apologize directly, but she stopped asking for my card. The silence was not reconciliation. It was a boundary holding. Lily visited during winter break. She brought a framed photograph of the coast. In the background, Elena was sitting on the villa balcony with the ocean behind her. I placed the photograph beside Michael's old notebook. Evan came with Lily and asked whether I was planning another trip. Yes, I said. Where? I am thinking about taking a train along the northern coast. Will you invite us? I looked at him. I hope you will be people I want to invite. He accepted the answer. Marisol sent me a letter a few weeks later. She wrote that Elena still talked about the balcony. She said her mother had kept the breakfast menu because it was the first time she had ever ordered room service. I kept that letter too. It reminded me that redirecting the upgrade had not been a performance. It had been a choice made after I realized where I was not wanted. Sometimes people asked why I did not cancel the entire vacation. They said I should have punished the family more clearly. They said Kendra deserved to lose everything after what she had said. But I did not want Evan's birthday to become a disaster. I did not want Lily stranded. I did not want to use money to create fear. I wanted the family to experience the trip they had actually arranged, without the extras they assumed I would fund. That was enough. I did not lose $12,800. I learned what some of that money had been buying. It had been buying convenience, silence, and the hope that generosity could create closeness. Once I stopped using money that way, I could see the relationships more clearly. I kept Evan's birthday watch receipt in a small envelope. I could have returned the watch after the airport conversation, but I gave it to him because my love was not canceled by the truth. What changed was the price I was willing to pay to be treated as included. For years, I had believed being a good mother meant moving myself to the edge of every room. If Evan needed the calendar, I moved my appointment. If Kendra needed money, I opened my wallet. If Lily needed something, I rearranged my day. I told myself love was measured by how much inconvenience I could absorb without complaining. I was wrong. Love can include generosity, but it cannot require one person to become invisible. A gift can remain a gift without becoming a claim. A family can share a celebration without reducing someone to the card that pays for it. Evan and I are still rebuilding our relationship. I remain polite to Kendra. I remain close to Lily. I do not beg to return to the villa or demand that everyone apologize in the same room. I have already answered the question that mattered. I can leave when I am not wanted, and I can do it without abandoning myself. The next time I travel, the first name on the plan will be mine. I will choose the room, the route, and the people I want beside me. If I pay for someone else, it will be because I want to give a gift, not because I am trying to purchase a place in their life. They thought my card was the invitation. It was never the invitation. It was only the part of me they had learned to use.